Hi, I'm Samantha Dry, one of the founders of the Simunye Project. In 2006, Peter travelled back from Melbourne to South Africa for a family event. On the way to the airport at the end of the trip, his mother, Brenda Dry, wanted to introduce him to a woman she had recently started to help, Susan Ramekwa. Susan had quit her job as Director of Childcare Johannesburg to start making a real difference in the squatter camp she drove by every day. She withdrew all her savings and started to support the local orphaned and disadvantaged children from the Princess Crossing slum by providing a safe after-school place for them to go to, as well as receive one meal a day. Peter came back to Melbourne inspired by what he saw. We decided that if young people could see that they could make a difference to their world, it might inspire them to make the change the world needed. The Simunye Project was born out of that thought. A year later, the first Simunye Project took place. 18 Australian students and 4 chaperones embarked on the first 18-day trip to South Africa to help make a change. And the trip has been running ever since. The Simunye Project has 3 goals: connect kids with kids, recognize the capacity to be agents of positive change, and make a difference. Since the first trip, we have taken over 350 volunteers and raised over $400,000 and impacted the lives of hundreds of children. The project focuses on food, education, and hygiene or sanitation. The project has built toilets, kindergartens, started feeding schemes, planted and maintained countless vegetable gardens, taught thousands of lessons, and most importantly, connected with kids. We are so proud of the impact this project has had, not only on the lives of the children and people in South Africa, but of the high school student volunteers across the years. Students have dedicated thousands of hours raising money. Some have worked 2 jobs to be part of the experience, and some have even changed career paths because of this project. And I believe we haven't seen the full extent of the impact yet. To be able to affect another person's life, even in a small way, is a privilege. And I am so privileged to have been part of this project for 15 years. The trip has changed this year. The students are unable to actually go to South Africa. But what has been highlighted is that the motivation for this project is to serve, is to help make a difference, whether in person or not. We are privileged to have connections at every organization on the ground in South Africa with which we work, so we can get funds directly to the people that need it to continue our work. Feeding schemes at Sepang, classrooms at Masweng, and shade cloth for vegetable gardens at Educare Daycare Centre. The work goes on because the students understand these goals. So even though they aren't going to be there in person, the fact that they have still raised the money and still set aside the time to be part of this project from afar is a huge privilege in itself, and I am enormously grateful for that.
An 18-day trip dedicated to serving those in need. Traveling to some of the poorest places in South Africa, we build classrooms, playgrounds, provide educational resources, make sustainable gardens, provide nutritious foods, and more.
What I learned about sustainable giving on Simunye was that it all starts with education. Everything we do would be to try and help educate or help educational facilities, because that is what's really sustainable.
The impact of Simunye for me was the chance to truly experience a different culture and community that contrasts so greatly from my own.
I got to meet a girl named Antoinette and her sister, and getting to connect with them even though they weren't, the little kids that we were teaching was really amazing, and getting to learn from them and getting to teach them some of the things I knew. It was really impactful for me and for them.
The Simunye Project helped me see how I can be a catalyst for positive change in after high school and after college.
A few years ago I came to Simunye and we worked and it was great, but when I came back this year I really saw the improvement that happened over the years that I wasn't here, and since I showed up to like this one creche and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, is this really the place that I was here like 2 or 3 years ago?
For me personally, it has given me a greater appreciation for my friends and family and education. On another note, it has also helped me realize that I'm never too young to be a catalyst for change and that I can always be a positive impact in somebody's life.
Something really unique about the Simunye Project is that the impact of the trip is not only felt by the kids and families in South Africa, but also by the students who attend the trip.
I think the biggest impact that Simunye has can really be seen through the sustainability and the teaching aspects that we implement in everything that we do. Because while things like supplying EPOP and painting and building are all super important, I think the biggest impact is really seen when we teach the community and demonstrate to them how to upkeep what we've provided in the future.
I learned that sustainable giving is not only about giving to the people in need, but also giving to the environment, giving to the earth as well.
Simunye's biggest impact to me is definitely seeing how much joy these communities get from the gifts we bring them and the work we do for them. It was an incredible thing to see and witness, and I'm really glad I got to indulge in it and be part of the trip.
Something I learned about sustainable giving is that when you give sustainably, it goes a lot longer than just yourself, and it blesses even more people. And we definitely saw that in Simunye, since the projects that have been done in the past were sustainable enough to be able to be used again. So we got to see the blessings of past Simunye projects, which is really cool, knowing that we will be able to do that with our projects this year.
I think that the impact Simunye has is incredible, because to get out of the poverty loop, you really have to reinforce education, and that's really the only way they're going to get out. And so Simunye provides good learning situations for all of these kids in need that wouldn't be able to get out or get the exposure that they are any other way.
Hi, my name is Hannah Broadbeck, and I was a part of the Simunye trip in 2020. There are so many resources provided by the Simunye Project each year. Last spring, we took months of preparation before the trip to gather shoes, clothes, essential items, and handmade blankets that went to the organizations we helped in South Africa. Once in South Africa, we spent a few days grocery shopping to ensure we had enough food hampers for each family that goes to Sepang. It was meaningful getting to gather food we knew would go to families who needed it. When we finally met the children who would receive the clothes, shoes, food, blankets, and more that we collected, it all came full circle and felt incredible. Not only this, but we were able to supply a year's worth of EPOP to Sepang. It was a complete demonstration of fulfillment. Throughout the entire trip, we used the money we had fundraised to buy building supplies, paint, food, learning materials, and other necessities to help the organizations we worked with. At each location, we were able to help in a variety of ways, such as creating a new garden for a local school, teaching local children new ways to learn, painting classrooms and playsets, and simply playing with the kids we met. Because of all we had collected in donations beforehand, we were able to provide all of these essential resources and give back to our fullest.
Hello everyone, my name is Charlie Hoffman, and I went on the 2020 Simunye Project. While planting carrots at a daycare center called Sepang, I met a young boy named Tapelo. He and I instantly connected, and only after 30 minutes with him, he changed how I thought about the world. Tapelo had opened my eyes to a world of inequality, and he was a living example of the consequences of that inequality. But despite this depravity of what we would call necessities, I saw in Tapelo a sense of ability and strength that comes with this situation. Tapelo adapted to his surroundings and was strong-minded because of it. Also, when looking at the daycare center and the adults there, I saw a sense of pride for their culture, even though materially the situation was very desolate. And these themes of pride, strength, and ability directly contradict the popular opinion that the impoverished are powerless. What I saw in Tapelo and the adults at Sepang was the exact opposite. I saw power that was greater than the power held by the very people imposing that stereotype. because the South Africans learned how not only to live, but to flourish without anyone else's aid. I had no idea that when I looked down on that adorable little face for the first time, that it would change the entire way I viewed my life and how I wanted to contribute to the world around me. In exchange for teaching Pello how to plant carrots, I received knowledge from that 7-year-old boy that would change my life. When in South Africa, you learn how to look at the world through a different lens and think about how you can be more of a global citizen. I promise you that when you return to America, you will miss the days spent under the hot sun teaching kids who are full of innocence and purity. This trip made me realize that in whatever career I pursue, I want to make a difference in those communities who need our help.
Hello, my name is Tandrai, and I have been fortunate enough to go on the Simunye trip over 10 times. Over those 10 plus years, I've developed close bonds that will last me a lifetime. One of my earliest memories of the Simunye Project was when I was maybe 5. We went to Manyeleti, a primary school located in Mpumalanga. As we arrived, I had to literally be picked up and carried out of the van over a sea of kids because for many of them, I was the first white kid that they'd seen. A while later in the day, my dad said that he found me and another little boy sitting down just stroking each other's hair. He had never seen or felt straight blonde hair like mine, and I had never felt such thick dark hair like his. We could not speak the same language, we could not communicate, but we still created that bond with nothing but non-verbal contact. Recently, as I've gotten older and further had the capacity to create deeper bonds based on more than simply the way our hair feels, I've begun to create genuine friendships. 3 years ago, as we were working in Sepang, an after-school care program in Johannesburg, a young boy named Atlehang approached me. I was digging a path down to direct sewage water away from the kindergarten to stop it from being continuously flooded, and he kind of just sat down and watched before asking if he could help. And I mean, I'd been digging for the last 20 minutes straight, so I didn't stop him. After a minute or so, I picked up another shovel and continued to work. We started talking during the digging, and I was blown away by how good his English was. Over the next 2 days, we got closer. I learned that his dad abused his mother, then left his house before attempting to set it on fire, and that he stayed with his mum and his older brother. He enjoyed going to school and he loved drawing. Now every year when I come back, I look for his face and we spend the time together. I'm so grateful for the Simunye Project to give me the opportunity to make this friendship and to be able to directly improve his life in a dramatic and tangible way.
Hi, my name is Kaya Equivli, and I had the opportunity of going on the 2020 Simunye trip. Despite having no trip this year, the partnerships and connections the Simunye Project has developed in South Africa, we are still able to accomplish many things. Some of our partners also act as distributors. Through them, we are able to work on the completion of 2 classrooms from Maswang Primary School, supply EPUB to 500 children for a year, to provide 200 families with 3 or more months of food through the food hampers, provide 60 girls with feminine hygiene products that will last them 3 years. By providing feminine hygiene to these girls, it enables them to attend school full-time rather than having to miss a week each month. The reason we use and provide EPUB is that EPUB is made from whole grain maize and soybeans. The production process adds vitamins into the mixture in a form that the body can easily absorb, making it very nutritious for those struggling with nourishment. Each food hamper we provide has a variety of different common necessities, common for us but considered more of a luxury to some South African community residents. Within the hampers, items range from rice to noodles to sugar to maize meal to soap and other hygiene products, much more. While it's challenging completing these projects because we are unable to travel, it hasn't stopped the community from coming together to reach those in Johannesburg, Limpopo, and Hoedspruit, to name a few. Especially with COVID, these communities are struggling and needing support, which is why, right now, more than ever, the love we give is so important.
Thank you all for taking the time to listen and learn about the Simunye Project. I hope that we have conveyed the meaning of this trip and how, in real time, our work is being felt by communities in South Africa. We hope that you can support our trip through prayer and, if possible, a donation. Every little bit helps. All donations will go directly to communities in the form of EPUB, construction supplies, and much more. Not being able to go this year will not slow us down or deter us from helping those in need. Again, Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions about the project or how to support us, go to simunyeprojectus.org.